Hey, good afternoon. I'm so glad you guys are joining me today. This is part of the Savvy Cleaner training, and once each year, we kind of open it up to the public and we answer your questions. And this is not for just the members of Savvy Cleaner Network. So those of you that are unfamiliar with the network, we've got a training program for house cleaners and maids, and we answer a lot of questions and we help you design your business, and then we help troubleshoot some of the stuff that's working and some of the stuff that's not working, and how do we take what's working and do more of it, and take the stuff that's not working and do less of it and then outsource some of the stuff in between. So I want to encourage you today to jump into the comments and to leave your comments and your questions, and I'm going to ask that you put a Q in the front so that I can look at the questions at a glance, and then I can answer them, and we'll get to as many of them as we can today. Now, over the last couple of days, there have been a lot of questions that have flooded in, and some of these are things that you might already know. But if these are things you already know, this will be a review. And if these are things that you don't know, jump in, add your 2 cents, add your comments in the notes, and we'll try to work it out together, if you will. All right. So for those of you that are just joining us, I want to thank you. And I want to say I appreciate your time, because time in the cleaning business is money. And so anytime you spend time investing in yourself so that you can learn something or tweak something, maybe you only come away with one new idea. That one new idea can probably revolutionize your business or save hours of time per week. And so I love learning new things in my business. This is the 33rd year I've had in the cleaning business, and I'm still learning new things every day. So I encourage you, if you have not made this commitment, that you make a commitment to learn at least one new thing a day about your cleaning business, and then to implement it as fast as possible and see if it works for you. So don't judge what you're going to hear today. Just listen. And then as you work through the next couple of days, couple of weeks, as you hear these ideas, say, wait a second, how does that apply to me? Would that work in my business? Could I tweak it just a tiny little bit and make that work for my business? And so what we're here today is not to make a one size fits all, but to just share some ideas that maybe will stop the way that you're doing something that might be wasting time, or it might be maybe just make you slightly off course. If you were running a race, for example, and one foot was leading outward, maybe you're still running forward, but all of your momentum is then going in one direction before you correct your course. And if you're just to kind of pivot your toe and go in a straight line, it moves all the momentum and all of the energy in one direction. And so that's kind of what we're here to do today. All right, so I've got a lot of questions here. I actually have some comments as well. And I have I have a lot of stuff that we're going to cover. So like I say, we're going to go as fast as we can. I also want to say that if you want to agree to be on camera and you want to jump up here with me and ask your question so that we can have a short conversation, I've added a link here in the notes, and you can click on that link, and then that will put you inside the green room. And then when you're ready to ask your question, then raise your hand and I'll bring you up on stage. All right, so the first question that we have here, this is from Michael, and Michael says, what is the perfect recipe to get stains out of whites using just detergent and perfect temperature on the washing machine? All right, that's a great question. And if we're using detergent only, the real question is, what kind of detergent are you using? Because the detergent that you use is going to have a lot to do with whether or not it's actually going to get the stains out. So you want to take the detergent, the laundry detergent that you're using, and you want to pre-apply it directly to the stain. And if you'll pre-apply it directly to the stain, think of it as like dishwashing soap, okay? It's going to be liquid laundry detergent. And if you'll take the material and you'll kind of rub it together, we don't want to use a brush and we don't want to scrub it and damage the fibers, but if you'll just kind of rub the fibers together, which is either it could be like white towels if you're doing an Airbnb, or it might be a white shirt or something like that. But if you'll rub the fabric together and then let it set for about 10 minutes, it will kind of soak in and it will help dissolve those stains. Once you put it inside the washing machine, and the next part of the question is about the temperature. Once you put it inside the washing machine, you want to use the highest temperature that your machine will offer. That's usually about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And so if you're doing that, then it's going to eat away the stains. And then before you take your clothing out of the washing machine, double check it and make sure that it has in fact removed the stains. Because if you put it in the dryer, even on a low heat setting, it could set those stains into the fabric, and then you don't have a chance to wash it out again. So if it doesn't wash it out with just the detergent and the heat for the sanitizing cycle the first time, then you want to go ahead and repeat that process. And by repeating that process, then it will give you a better chance of getting the stains out. But using just the detergent and just the temperature, that would be my suggestion. All right, we have Jonathan. Jonathan, are you ready to come up on stage? Give me a hands up if you are. Not yet. Okay, when you're ready, let me know and I'll bring you up here. Okay, we have another question from Michael. Michael says, what is the best technique to clean hardwood and laminate floors? This is a great question for me, and it's one I've tried and tested for a multiplicity of years. Like I've tried all the different solutions on the market, and I love the question because it comes down to a couple of things. For hardwood and laminate, the secret and the key is to use a pH neutral product. And so there are a lot of products on the market, but the secret is to use a pH neutral. And so on the scale, just as a quick reminder, we have 0 to 14. And so everything from acids to alkalines are going to be on that cleaning scale. And so being pH neutral is right there in the center. If we go from 0 to 14, 7 is neutral. And that's kind of where water is. Water is between 6 and 8, but it's usually at about 7. And so if we find something that is close to water, there are cleaning solutions. And when you dilute them, you'll put like a drop of something in a bucket of water. That's going to dilute it and keep it very pH neutral. And so in the cleaning business, one of the best tricks and hacks that we've ever used is using 1 drop of Sal suds inside a bucket of cleaning water that you're going to be using as your mop bucket. The reason being is that 1 drop will just take the edge off of whatever's there and clean the floor, but it's not going to leave a soapy residue, and you don't have to rinse it when you're done. But for some reason, the Sal suds, which is a Castile soap, and if you look up Sal suds, they come in bottles of like 16 ounces or 32 ounces. You need nothing more than the 16 ounce, I promise, because it's going to last you for a very long time if you're only using it a drop at a time. But it really shines floors. It does a really great job of shining floors. Now, I want to stop for just a second and remind us that during the pandemic, a lot of people were trying to sanitize their floors by pouring bleach on their floors. And the reality came to all of us that most of us just walk on our floors. We don't cook meals off of our floors. We're not doing open heart surgery on our floors. Disinfecting our floors is not really necessary for the most part. If we use really hot water on a microfiber cloth and then put it inside some solution that's water and 1 drop of Castile soap, then you wring it out really, really tight so there's no standing water at all. Then when you mop your floors, what you're doing is you're damp mopping your floors and you're removing the residue, and that will pick up food and sticky stuff and, dog or cat paws that they've tracked in mud from outside or whatever. So for the most part, that's all you need. And that would be my recommendation for the quickest, fastest, easiest, most effective way to clean hardwood floors. All right, our next question. We have a question that came in and it says, do you still charge a pet fee even though they say their pet doesn't shed? And I'm guessing this is a cleaning client that is then talking to the business owner that's charging a pet fee for the service. The secret to this particular question is not, is it right or wrong to charge a pet fee, but what does your policy say? And has that policy been communicated with the customer? So on a walkthrough, when you are explaining, and it's going to be really evident if you get to a customer's house and there's a pet that runs in, you want to introduce yourself to the pet. You want to get to know the pet while the owner is present. And that's a great time to have a conversation about your policies about pet fees. Now, it is standard in Airbnbs. It's standard in apartment rentals. It's standard pretty much all across the board. If someone is bringing a pet with them, that there will be a pet fee. And so do you have 1 pet fee for every animal, or do you have 1 pet fee per animal? So if you've got 5 dogs, you've got 5 pet fees. What does your policy say? And there's really no right or wrong way to do it. But in most cases, to add a pet fee would be standard. That's not going to be looked upon as weird. But there might be, as you're picking up a new client, say the first time we onboard a client, there's a one-time pet fee and it might be $200 or something like that. And that way you build it into the price of your cleaning from then on. If you charge $25 per cleaning, that's going to put some people off and say, well, just go find a cleaning service that includes that in the price. And so to nickel and dime your client per visit, I think is outrageous. And if I was the customer, I would feel like that's lunacy. This is part of my home, and just come clean my home, and whatever the cost is, the cost is. And so if you have a pet fee that you're going to charge per cleaning, just build that into the price so that it's transparent to the client, that they know that there's a pet fee. It's included in this price that we're offering. But don't let them know it's $25 per cleaning or whatever, because then they're always in the back of their mind thinking, oh, I'm overpaying $25 for my cleaning. Just build that into your price and charge them $25 more, and let that be the set rate. Okay. So you want to make it easy and effortless for the client to say yes to your offer. And so every time you break something down, and you might need to break it down if you're doing an estimate and you're saying, here is what is included. We want to bring all the value to the table. You might want to add it. It includes cleaning supplies, and it includes all of our personal protective equipment that we're going to use on your house to make sure that we're not transferring germs from someone else's house. You want to make sure that it includes your extra supplies that are disposable, like your Swiffer duster heads and your shoe covers and things like that. Then you might also add in there a pet fee per pet, or a pet fee for inclusive of all the pets or whatever. So the first time they see this, they're going to see all the value that you provide. And then from then on out, there's going to be the price that they pay. And that way it's easy for them just to write a check or to do auto pay and say, yes, everything was included. But the key is to communicate it up front with the customer so that there are no surprises when their neighbor gets billed for a pet cleaning fee, and then they're like, well, I never got billed for one. You did. And make sure that they understand that. Okay. Just so that there are no surprises. All right. The next one is laundry included in a general clean. Okay. This is a fun question, and it is not typically. If you're a regular maid service, not typically, laundry is not included. So I want to go back for a second too. There are daily, weekly, and biweekly chores. There are also monthly and then quarterly chores. But typically we deal with the daily, the weekly, and the biweekly. And so as the house cleaner, what services are you providing? Are you there to provide daily chores? Are you there to provide weekly chores? Or are you there to provide biweekly chores? And so if you're only there to provide daily chores, which would include, making the beds, doing the laundry, cleaning up the dishes, those kinds of things, is that part of the service that you're offering? And is that clear to the customer? And so there are, I would call them stations, if you will. You're on a walkthrough with the customer, and you have to walk through the kitchen. Okay. I mean, that's part of the walkthrough. So as you're walking through the kitchen, then you would stop at the kitchen sink and say, hey, I notice as I'm standing at your kitchen sink, there are no dishes in here today. And so I'm assuming as we create a bid for you today that it doesn't include any of the daily chores. Now, for some customers, this is the first time they're going to know about daily chores. They do daily chores, but they never thought of them as daily chores, and that it's their responsibility in most scenarios. And they might say, what are daily chores? This is a great opportunity to say it's the dishes, it's making the beds, it's doing the laundry, it's emptying the dishwasher. And now you've specified all of the things that you do not do, unless you have a package that actually does that. Now we have two packages, and it's the same package. It's the exact same package. One is called a senior helper package, and the other one is called a mommy's helper package. And depending on which client you're speaking to, you will introduce one of those packages. So if they need the laundry done, then you're introducing one of those two packages, and you say, we do have a package that includes daily chores, and here's what we cover on those packages. And so that allows them the opportunity to say, yes, I want to buy that service, or, oh, no, I didn't realize that there was a difference. I only want to pay for the biweekly or the weekly chores because I'll do the little chores myself, so I'm not paying the big money for daily chores. Does that make sense? So we want to be very clear, because it doesn't really matter what services your company offers as long as it's been specified to the customer and they know which package they've paid for. Because if you think that you're doing a biweekly package and they think that you're doing a daily chores package, it doesn't matter how great of a cleaner you are or what you clean in their home. They're going to be dissatisfied because there's a gap in the expectations. They're expecting daily chores and you're expecting biweekly chores, right? And so then you're like, hey, I did a great job. And then they're like really upset. I want a call back. I want you to come back and do all the stuff that I thought you were going to do. And then there's this discrepancy. And so if there's a discrepancy, it doesn't matter how great of a cleaner you are, you lose. So we want to make sure that we're very clear about that. Jonathan, I see you again. Are you ready to ask a question? Okay, cool. I'm going to bring Jonathan up here. We're going to have a short conversation, and you too can join in the conversation if you would like to join us by simply clicking on the link that I put in a little bit ago. All right, Jonathan, I'm bringing you up right now. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for joining me. What's your question?
All right. So it was funny. I was looking through all the questions that I have, but I think you asked most of them in the Facebook group. But my most recent question, I guess, let me make sure I get it right because I actually just posted it as well, but I was hoping you can just answer it now. Could you clarify on the standard procedures of paying employees when the services are canceled? I know you mentioned that in the past. It's like, so my understanding is like if there's a cancellation, if a client has a cancellation within a 24-hour window, then we'll charge the client a cancellation fee and then still pay the employee for that canceled clean. Um, and then my question was like, if the services are rescheduled for a different day, so are we still charging the client a cancellation fee and also pay the employee for both the canceled clean and the rescheduled clean?
Oh, that's
And then,
that's a really good question. That's actually two separate questions. So let me start with the one first about the canceled clean. Do you pay the cleaner? Because by law, you might have to. Okay. So if you go to the, I believe it's the Department of Labor, and I don't have the link right up at the top of my head, but the Department of Labor has something called hourly wages. And so if you have an employee that's on hourly wages and you have guaranteed them a particular amount of time, when a customer cancels and you have that employee that has blocked out schedule on their, time on their schedule, they're planning to be there, they show up for work and then there's no work, you still have to pay them. So one of the questions I do when I hire somebody is I always ask them during the interview, when you're not cleaning, what are your other skills? Like, are you great at website design? Do you do graphic design? Are you great at social media? Like, what are your other skills in terms of how my business can use their services during that downtime? Because if I'm still going to pay them by the hour, I would love to just have them pivot and do something that my business needs that I still either have to do myself or have to pay someone else to do. And so you may have one team member that is just fantastic with social media. So during the job interview, I would ask them, from time to time, we have cancellations. And so before you take this job, because again, you want to be clear up front about the expectations and about the scope of work. So I'm going to hire you as a cleaner, but I know that you're fantastic with social media. And our company does a lot of social media in that we do, and then you can specify exactly what you need. We do a lot of little collages with before and after pictures. So if on the jobs, I save a whole library of before and after pictures, if you ever have a cancellation, would you be willing and would you be open to sitting down and putting these little collages together of before and after pictures in little packs that we can then schedule and post on our social media? And they might say, yeah, that would be really fun for me. Okay, well, if a customer cancels, then instead of them just wandering around aimlessly and going shopping for 3 hours and then going, oh, well, the customer canceled, their job then is to report back to home base, wherever home base is. And then you may have a company computer that's set up with login permissions and all the things all ready for them. And I recommend that you do this in your business. Get an extra computer that's not your main computer and have it set up for employees to jump in at the last minute, sit there in your office or in a waiting room and sit there and put some stuff together that you then can use for your business. Because there are a lot of skills that we as entrepreneurs don't necessarily have. And so we've done this for years where we're still paying them by the hour and it's going to be their regular cleaning rate. And so they still get paid, they still get put food on the table for their families, but you've just pivoted their chores during that one cancellation window. Now, the next question that you asked was if you reschedule the service, remind me if this is the question. You reschedule the service. Do you pay the employee both times? You pay them for the time that was missed and then the new time. Is that
That's
what I'm
correct.
understanding? Okay. So if you're able to reschedule the service, then you would pay the cleaner the regular cleaning rate for as if they just went out and did a regular job. For the missed cleaning, again, I would bring them back to home base and I would have them do something that was useful to your business that again,
Yeah.
you were going to outsource to somebody on Fiverr, or you're going to have to do it yourself. Because chances are at your rate, which is the boss rate, your time is probably slightly more valuable than your employees. And so at the employee rate, it still makes sense to hire them to do some of your chores if
Makes
they can
sense.
help you with that. Does that make sense?
Yes. There was one last part to that. I was wondering, if in the event that there is a cancel clean that's outside of the 24-hour notice, so let's say they might give you a day or two notice, should we, are we, or would you not charge a cancellation fee? And then in that event, would we also not have to pay the employee for the cancellation?
So
Or
if you
should we
don't
still?
charge a cancellation fee, then the money that you're paying your employee comes out of your own pocket. And so one of the things that we teach at Savvy Cleaner is a whole entire course on packaging your services together so that you have one fee. It's the concept of if you go to a car dealership, for example, and you buy a car, what you're buying is you're buying a car. You're buying a whole package. It's an entire package that includes the vehicle, the wheels, the engine. It's all in one package. And then you take that package home and you put it in your garage and you pay for it on a monthly basis. You write a check once a month or it's auto drafted or however you pay your car payment. And if that sits inside your garage for a whole month and you don't drive your car at all, you don't go back to the car dealership and say, hey, can I have some of my money back because I didn't use my car this month? That's not how it works. You're given a flat fee and this is your payment per the service that you took home or the product that you took, which is the car. And so we do the same thing in house cleaning. We say, hey, here's all the value that we're providing. And we're offering deep cleanings and weekly cleanings and biweekly cleanings and special packages and whatever it is that you've put together with the client. And then you amortize that over 12 months. And then they have one fee that they pay on auto draft every single month, no cancellations. And so if they cancel, then you try to reschedule it, but there are no refunds. And that eliminates the cancellation policy because if they cancel, they've already paid, right? It's nickel and diming the client
Yeah.
when you have all these other weird policies like, oh, if I stay 15 minutes longer, I got to charge you more money. And if I add this to your service, I charge more money. And if you cancel, then there's a cancellation fee. And if I get locked out, there's a cancellation fee or a lockout fee. There are all these different, and it gets really confusing and it's harder. The more pieces there are to that puzzle, the harder it is for someone to recommend your service. If you make it really easy, like, hey, Jonathan's cleaning company has one flat fee. I got to pay one fee per month for all the stuff that he offers. And people will say, what is all this stuff? I don't know. He's got to come to your house and figure it out for you and your family. But once he's figured it out and you guys have agreed to something, there's one flat fee for always. The price is always the same. It never changes. He's got you set up on auto draft. It's super easy. You never think about it again. You just come home and voila, your house is clean. So you want to make it really easy for people to do business with you. And the cancellations will happen. It's going to happen on your end. It's going to happen on their end. And so how you work that out is you say, hey, listen, I'm human. You're not hiring a robot. You're hiring a human. And from time to time, I may have a funeral. I may have emergencies. I may have something because I am human. You too are going to have emergencies because you are human. And so it's going to be a wash. I got to cancel. You got to cancel, whatever it is. But we're going to make it up to you at the earliest convenience. So if we can fit you in that later that day, the same day, whatever, we're going to try to make that up to you. Okay. But for whatever reason, if you leave us out in the cold and you cancel on us, and if I leave you out in the cold and I cancel on you, it's going to be a wash because neither of us are going to do that to each other on purpose. Right. And they're going to go, right. We're not going to do that. But if they've already paid for their service, check this out. If they've already paid for their service, it is less likely they will cancel on you. If you've already paid for something and you're like, oh, I don't get any money back. Well, it's not convenient, but you know what? Have them come anyway and clean my house. I've already paid for it. And so people tend not to cancel if they've already paid for it. So the quickest way to remove the cancellation problem is charge up front for the service and have it on a regular auto pay. Does that make sense?
That sounds great.
It works out really, really well. And then you eliminate like 95% of all the cancellations. And if a customer cancels, and this happens from time to time, a customer will have a really bad day. They're sick or they're tired or something, and they really don't want a house cleaner coming. And it doesn't matter how much you've already charged them. They're like, you know what, don't come. All right, do you want me to try to reschedule? They might say, you know what, just forget about it, don't come. Then literally forget about it and then don't come. What they're saying is, I really need my space today. And I've had days like that too. I think we all have. And so if there's a moment where you're just like, I just can't deal with it today, then just honor that. Just say, okay, that was their choice. That's like them leaving the car in the garage, closing the door, parking the car for a couple of days and not driving it, you know.
Got it. Got it. Thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you for joining me up here. I'm going to let you go back to your computer and
Yeah.
there you go. All right. More questions. I have a question here that says, from Debbie, opinion on washers, front load or top load, and why? As far as cleaning goes, I prefer the top load. They're far easier to clean than those rubber gaskets that are inside the front load machines. But there are solutions that you can put inside a washing machine and you can run it on a cycle. I know vinegar is used a lot for running it just through a cycle by itself with no laundry whatsoever. And that oftentimes will clean out the machine and it will remove some of the smell. That is a great way to do that. But be careful on the front load machines that you don't do it too frequently. I would say maybe once a month at most if you're just doing a vinegar cycle, because the vinegar, it being an acid, is very strong. On the pH scale, we talked about the pH scale, it's a 2.5, and that's a logarithmic scale. So it's not just one number over, but it's so much stronger as it goes every number deeper, right? So it's a very strong chemical. So vinegar by itself will do the job, but it can also break down the rubber inside your washing machines. So you want to make sure that you don't do it too often. But like once a month, that's a great way to clean the washing machines. Personal preference as far as what I prefer. I have both a front load and I have a top load at two different homes that I own. And I prefer the top load, oddly enough, because I don't have to clean out the rubber gasket. And I feel like if I'm the homeowner and I'm doing a load of laundry, I don't know if I'm just neurotic or if it's the cleaner in me, but I feel like every time the load of wash is done with the front load, I feel like I got to get a paper towel and go through the gasket and clean everything out and then get a Q-tip and get down in the little seal where the doors close and it locks. I feel like there's like hair and maybe bobby pins and stuff down there that I have to get out just because I don't want to leave it in there and I don't want it to gunk up. With the top load, it's got a clear glass top. And so as I walk by, I can look and see, is the cycle finished? Are we halfway through? Is it spinning? Like, what's the deal, right? So personal preference, I think after all the years and having had both, I think I still prefer the top load washing machine. So that's my choice. All right. All right, next question. This is from James. He says, is wood that has been water damaged with some black mold, can it be cleaned and saved? All right. So the question is, where did the mold come from? That's my first question. And my first question is it isolated? Is this like a table and there was a leak and it got on the table and now there's some black mold? Because if that's the case, it might be remedied some way. You might be able to use some kind of a cleaner and get that off. And I say some kind of a cleaner. If it's not wood and it's a different substance, you might be able to use bleach. You might be able to use vinegar on the wood. And I don't recommend vinegar on wood because it's going to eat away whatever you've got. But if you got mold, you're trying to treat the wood, which is the soil on top of the surface. The next question is, what is the laminate or the coating that's on top of the wood? Is this going to eat through the laminate or the coating, or has that already happened? And so what type of wood is it? Where is it? How bad is it? Can you get the mold off? Or is it a bigger situation? Is it mold on floor? Because if it's a mold on a wood floor, to me, the bigger question is, where did it come from? Did it come from a leak in the roof? And do we have mold up there? Or is the whole floor moldy? And if you can start to see signs, and look around, literally look around. Is it around the baseboards? Is it behind the baseboards? Is it creeping up the wall? If you have a mold problem, that might be a perfect opportunity to get a mold remediator in. And what they do is they come into your house and they'll go into your attic and the crawl space underneath your house. And they have a moisture meter. And what they do is they test up in your attic and they test underneath your house. and then they test the humidity or the moisture that's where the mold is showing up. And what they do is they say, hey, is it consistent, or do you really have a moisture problem, and is it possibly growing behind the walls? And so then what's going to happen is they'll, after their diagnostic, they will determine whether or not they need to come in and remove the mold. And if you can catch mold right in its early phases and get rid of it, what they do is they take it's like what do you call it, dry ice, like a dry ice blaster, and they'll blast it away. It's a special machine where they remove the ice without any chemicals. It's literally dry ice, and it freezes the mold, and they remove it, and then you can reset the home. But if you don't catch the mold, and that's my question when mold on wood, if you don't catch it, it's an organic matter and it grows really, really, really fast. And so as a homeowner, if you don't catch the mold, it can totally destroy your property value, literally just by eating its way through the mold and the drywall and the sheetrock and the roof and the flooring and all the stuff in your house. And then it gets really, really, really expensive to try to recoup that. So at the first sign of mold, stop and say, where is this coming from? And I don't mean to be like, get all worried and paranoid about it, but literally get all worried and paranoid about it. Don't just try to cover it up and go, okay, I just removed a little bit of mold and I'm good. The only place mold in your house, and I don't want to say the only place it shouldn't worry you, because again, where did it come from, is inside the shower or the bathtub. If you got mold in the shower or the bathtub, that's the common place that as house cleaners we see mold. But if you see it anywhere else in the home, your antennas should go up and your red flags should alert you, and you go, wait a second, there's a problem here. Where did the mold come from? Because if it came from the ceiling and you got a leak in the roof, that needs to be addressed. Removing mold right here with some chemicals is not going to fix the mold problem. You're hiding the mold, you're removing it, you're covering it up for a minute, and then it's going to come right back. And so address the issue the first chance you get. Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way. All right, we got a couple more comments here. Sharon says, my fiberglass tub turned purple from a purple D-liner. The company said pouring boiling water one and over, and it worked. I want to say thank you for that tip. That sounds like a really great way to do that. There are a lot of liners that we have in our bathtubs, and a lot of these are like mats that you step on so that you don't slip and fall. And some of them are liners as well. It's very important to keep those clean. And so if pouring boiling water over that will do the trick, then I suggest that you do that. But keep those clean as well, because those are a really great source of soap scum buildup and also bacteria. And sometimes you'll see like the pink slime that builds up around the little suction cups that are on the bottom of the tub. So you want to make sure that when you're cleaning your tub, that you do keep that to a minimum by keeping it clean and using, in this particular case, boiling water. So thank you, Sharon, for bringing that up. Great tip. All right, we have Home with Katrina. She says, I cleaned a wood table with Murphy's oil soap, and the table had furniture polish on it. So it made it look very dull and streaky. What should I use if furniture polish is on the wood? That's a great question. And as a professional house cleaner, I'm going to share with you that I am not a fan of furniture polish for the very reason. You can get buildup on top of buildup on top of buildup. And then depending on the humidity in the air and depending on fingerprints, it can either leave like a waxy residue. It can show fingerprints. It can look like oil stains. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can malfunction depending on the veneer on top of the wood that you're putting the wax or the furniture polish on. And so one of the things I like best for wood furniture, and this is something specific to Savvy Cleaner, this is what we do with all of our customers over the years when we've bid jobs, we use a damp microfiber cloth on all wood furniture. And if the customer wants to put on furniture polish between our cleanings, that's on them. But we don't buy the furniture polish and we don't put it on people's furniture for the very reasons that you mentioned. There's a waxy buildup, and although it smells nice and it looks nice on many occasions, it looks nice temporarily, and then the wax buildup shows up, the fingerprints show up, and it's not my favorite. So just a damp microfiber cloth that's going to remove all dust. And our job is not to polish and refinish their home. It's literally to clean. And so by cleaning, we're removing the dust, and it looks nice, and there you go. Now, I want you to take that concept and take that to hardwood floors. We talked about hardwood floors a minute ago. Think of your hardwood floors as a great big monster piece of wood furniture. And instead of putting a bunch of stuff on it that's going to build up a waxy buildup and it's going to have the same kind of film that you see, if you'll use a damp microfiber cloth or mop pad, that's what we're talking about, a damp microfiber cloth. When you mop the floor with that, what that does is it removes the dust, it polishes it up, it looks nice, and it's clean. And so I'm really keen on this. What would you use on wood? Just a damp microfiber cloth in most situations. Now, the caveat, there's going to be a client, it happens to every house cleaner. There will be someone that says, I insist on furniture polish. My next question is, what brand do you prefer? And what is it that you insist on? And they might say, I use Old English walnut color, and it's going to be on a particular, set of furniture. Is this for all of the wood furniture in your house, or is this for a select couple of dressers or a table? And they'll tell you exactly where they want it. And you say, okay, great. I, as the house cleaner, will purchase that particular brand. And again, this goes through the expectations that you're setting up with the client. I will use it on the specified pieces of furniture. And then my company will purchase the furniture polish, and we take a Post-it note and we post the numbers of the house. So if they're at 10309, 10309, and that's going to be brown for Angela Brown. That's it. That's all that's on the Post-it note, 10309 and brown. And that way I know that this particular Old English polish bottle belongs to that customer. And that Post-it note, we just put a piece of Scotch tape on the bottom of the Post-it note so that it sticks and that it can be removed easily. But that one container then goes on our storage shelf and is only brought out when we're doing inventory the night before to set up the cleaning caddy for that customer's home. When we get to that customer's home, we have their bottle of that cleaning supply for that isolated piece of furniture or two that they've demanded they have. And then in the event that we ever cancel their service or whatever, we return the rest of the bottle to them. But that way we're not buying all kind of weird, crazy cleaning solutions that we're taking and keeping in the back of our car. We're not storing them. They're not getting passed around. They're not spilling. They're not overheating. They're not dehydrating in a hot summer car. They're not freezing in the wintertime. And then we're not mixing and matching and using them on different products that have not been authorized for that. So if there's something specific that a customer requests, they're going to pay for it separately, and it's going to be theirs and theirs only. And so that's how we handle that particular situation. So whatever the brand the customer insists on, it's not a crazy request. It's just that some customers have their preferred brand. So we charge them for that particular brand of cleaning supply, and then we keep it isolated and specifically for their home. And that's how we handle that. Did that answer the question? I hope it did. All right. We have another question. This is also Sharon. She said, my fiberglass bathtub. Oh, we answered that one from the liner. All right, next one. Narrow Road 62 says, I don't have a cleaning company, but I appreciate your videos. So helpful. Do you have references of cleaning companies in my area that have been trained by you? My cleaners have been substandard. I hate that your cleaners have been substandard. And thank you very much for the comments. The reason we started Savvy Cleaner was for that very reason. It is so we could create a standard and we could raise the level of expertise in the cleaning industry. And do I have someone in your area? I don't know what area you're in. If you want to send me a PM after we're over, or you want to contact me through our social media channels, I'm at Ask Angela Brown. I'll be happy to find somebody in your area that has been trained by me. Thank you. The reason that we started the Savvy Cleaner training was because when I started my cleaning business, there wasn't a standard. And the very first person that introduced me to cleaning professionally did not have the standards I would have preferred if I was paying the price we got paid for the cleaning service. And as I watched her do things, I learned a lot from her the one day I worked for her. And I learned what not to do. I watched her do things like spray stuff in the air, like, oh, now it smells clean. We can leave this room as is. I was like, I just checked. That is not this. We did not clean anything. Smelling nice and spritzing stuff in the air did not clean anything. That is not right. And then she swept some dust underneath the rug and closed the rug back over like, hey, it looks clean. Okay, well, we swept it up into a pile, but sweeping it under the rug didn't solve the problem. The first time the customer steps on that rug, it's going to kind of come out of the carpet fibers and it's going to go back into the air. In a minute, if she pulls up the carpet or the rug, she's going to see all this dust under there, and that we kind of chinced on our work. Like we shortcutted the system. That's not going to get us referral business. So my philosophy, and I hate that you have had substandard cleaners. My philosophy is every single job that you go on is an audition for the next job. So even if you have the same customer for year after year after year after year, every single time that you go to that customer's house, you're auditioning for the job. And you're only as good as the last job you did. And so a customer at any time can fire you at any time for any reason. And so if you keep doing sloppy work, and there's a thing in the house cleaning industry, I don't know why, but it happens a lot. There's a thing where house cleaners who want the business will come in and they bid the job and they promise that they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. And then they show up and they do a whole bunch of stuff and they do a fantastic job because it's a new customer. They're trying to keep the business and they're super, go-getter. Then after a period of time, they start slacking off and they become more sloppy with their work. I don't know why, but I've seen this over and over and over again. And what the customer fell in love with in the beginning was that go-get-'em kind of attitude. Like, hey, Angela showed up and she did a fantastic job and she didn't miss anything. She double-checked all of her work. She inspected her stuff. She was fantastic. And they're really excited. They are as enthusiastic about the job you did as you were to do it. And then over time, you guys get kind of complacent. And I say you guys, I'm not pointing anybody out, but the house cleaners, the homeowners, they don't check like they checked in the beginning. When the house cleaner was new, they checked everything like, hey, did they clean behind the doors? Did they clean under the rugs? Did they clean this? Did they clean that? And they're kind of on top of everything. And because they were on top of everything, the house cleaner was like, oh, I better not miss anything because they're double checking. But after this complacency step sets in, the house cleaner gets a little sloppy and the homeowner stops checking and everything kind of slides a little bit. Then one day the homeowner wakes up and they're like, hey, my house cleaner's slipping. They're doing this lousy job. Well, part of it is the homeowner's fault. They stopped double checking. They stopped inspecting the work. They stopped leaving the ratings and reviews. They stopped sending feedback. And so as a house cleaner, your job is at every single job to reset that button. Like, hey, here I am at the client's house. I've been here for 14 years. I want to be here for 14 and a half, or I want to be here for 15. I don't want to get fired and somebody new is coming through this week with a flyer they're going to drop off in the newspaper box and they're going to undercut my price. And my customer that I think is going to be loyal to me forever is about to jump ship and go somewhere else. And so if you think like that in those terms, what do you have to do today in order to be the same cleaner that they're going to hang on to for 12, 15, 20 years? And so if you are slipping, I'm going to encourage you as a house cleaner, bring your service back up to par. And if you are the homeowner, I'm going to say bring your checking up to par. Double check the cleaning that's been done and have the courage to go to your cleaning company and say, hey, listen, I love the work you did when we started out. And I feel like over time, I've stopped checking and I just kind of let you do your thing. I kind of stepped out of your way and I trusted that you do your work. But I think over the course of time, I think my expectations have maybe, I don't know, enhanced a little bit, or there's been some slippage somewhere along the way as far as expectations go. So would you mind if I give you a couple of things that I've noticed? And can we bring those back up to speed so that we're both playing off the same page again? Now, I want to stop for 1 second. And I want to go back to, as house cleaners, one of the things that we do at Savvy Cleaner is we encourage a cleaning company every single year to go back to the customer's house and do a new walkthrough, even if you've been with a customer for 12, 13, 14 years. The reason being is this: nobody's life stays the same. People have kids. People have elder parents move in with them. People get pets. People have kids that go off to college, and now you're not cleaning those rooms. So their lifestyles, even inside the same home, their lifestyles change. And if you're charging the same price and you're doing the exact same service, but the lifestyles have changed, you're not accommodating for those changes. And so if you come back every year, and I would let the customer know the very first time that you do a walkthrough, this is a one-time walkthrough that's good for this year. And I'm going to guarantee the prices for this year if we get you on an automatic payment, and I can guarantee your rates for the entire year. At the end of the year, we'll do another walkthrough. We'll assess your needs and your priorities all over again, because I assume that your priorities may change. And I assume that during the course of our being together, maybe you have things that we need today that maybe you don't need in the future. Like if your business changes, maybe you don't need the den cleaned every single week. Maybe you need it cleaned every other week. Or if your kid goes off to college, maybe you need that. Maybe that's a guest room now and you don't need it cleaned every single week. Maybe you need it cleaned every quarter and it's just kind of an on as needed basis. Okay. So as priorities change, and then also the price will go up. And if you specify that from day one, when I come back, we'll do a new walkthrough, we'll assess your priorities, and there will be a new price. What happens is all through the year, they're thinking, oh, I'm locked into this fantastic rate, and I know the price is going to change. When you raise their price and you do a new walkthrough, there's no surprise. They know their price is going up. And then that removes the, oh my goodness, I've had the customer for 10 years and I've never raised my pricing. How do I do that without losing the customer? Because we get that question a lot as well. And so one of the questions is, how do I raise my prices without losing a customer? And the answer is you do it annually. Annually, you raise your prices. And you can send out a notice that goes out to all of your customers. And this is I've moved now into another question. How do you raise your prices? Not just the one on, can you recommend a good cleaner? But how you raise your prices then is you can send out a notice. You've probably gotten one recently from PayPal. They just changed their notice of terms and privacy. I know I got one, and my bank sent one out. And so every year my bank sends out a new notice that says, hey, here's how we deal with your privacy and your personal information. Here are our rates. We've had some rate increases. We've had some interest rate increases. If you borrow money from us, here, the rates have gone up. If you have a credit card with us, it's expected to be paid on a certain day. They have new policies. So our policies have changed. Here's the new one. If you do nothing, you're just going to be grandfathered into the changes. If you want to fight with us, you got like questions or whatever, here's a toll-free number to call and we'll be happy to answer your questions, right? So there's a way to do that in a really easy diplomatic way. It doesn't freak people out, because if you just suddenly add, $15 an hour to someone's bill, they're going to freak out and go, wait a second, I didn't see this coming. I didn't budget for this. And then they are going to go away and they're going to say, I'll go find a cheaper service. But if they know at the end of the year it's coming, there are no surprises. So I recommend that you raise your prices. Now, backing up to a minute, I got to back up just a minute. I was training a company this last week, and the cleaner had not raised their prices in a long time, and they were grossly undercharging. And so we decided that they were going to raise their prices $15 per hour to bring them up to industry standard. And their thought was, I'm going to lose a whole bunch of customers. And so what we did is we sent out a note to all of the customers. And we said, we've been with you guys for 10 years and there have not been any rate increases in 10 years. So we want to thank you for a really good run. But in order to catch up with inflation and regular bills and employment labor costs, we are raising our prices $15 per hour, which is still an incredible deal. And now I'd like to go even higher with that particular cleaning company, but we're going to do it in a gradual way. So our letter said, we understand that many of you are on a budget, and what we're going to do is raise the prices 3 times over the next year. But the next rate increase will be $15 per hour, and we're going to be doing this every 5 months over the next few months until we get back up to where we're supposed to be. And so if you have questions or whatever, please call us, please let us know. But this is what's happening right now, and it goes into effect immediately. And so we had a couple of people that called and said, I'm so glad you raised your prices. You were grossly undercharging. And there are a couple of people that are like, I really liked the cheaper price. Of course you did. It was dirt cheap. All right. But the reality is we had to quickly recover that. So then every time thereafter, it's going to be a small 3 to 5% increase, which is about what you're going to do on an annual basis. 3 to 5% increase. It's not going to be a whole lot. It's going to be a couple dollars more, not like $10 or $15 more. And this was so low and so obscenely low that the person couldn't survive and they couldn't pay their bills and they couldn't stay in business. Okay. So if you are running a business, you have to charge what we call fair labor wages in order that your cleaners can put food on their table. And so we have to catch up with the labor laws in order to pay our cleaners. And if you're not charging that, you're not going to be able to stay in business. So while people are offering enormous discounts on cleaning, we still have to come back in and say, hey, wait a second, what are the labor laws? And are we able to meet those at the rates we're charging? So there's that. All righty, moving on, more questions. This is One is from Anita. She says, is it best to add vinegar to the bleach dispenser or the fabric softener dispenser? It depends on what you're trying to do. I'm guessing this goes back to the question about cleaning the washing machine. The fabric dispenser or the cleaning dispenser would be fine, either one. It's going to process through a cycle and it's going to rinse that out. For the fabric softener, I would use vinegar if you have a load of laundry, and this sometimes is our cleaning uniforms. If you have your cleaning uniforms, they smell really, really, really bad. And I know that like on a move in, move out clean, sometimes you're working for 10 or 12 hours and you just reek when you're done, even though you used a deodorant. If your clothes just reek and you got to put vinegar inside your wash, put it inside the fabric softener dispenser, because it's not going to be released at the same time as the soap. So you're going to put your soap in and it's going to start washing. Then at a particular phase of the laundry cycle, it releases the stuff from the fabric softener, and then it comes in and it freshens up the smell of your clothing. And so for that, I would use it in the fabric softener dispenser. I hope that helps. All righty. Cheryl says, what concentration of vinegar do you use? And again, I'm not sure if this goes back to the question of cleaning the front load machine or if it's for cleaning clothes, because I know at the top of this, we talked about removing stains, but I would use straight bleach. I'm talking about you buy a gallon of cleaning vinegar, it's white distilled vinegar, and I pour like 1/4 of a cup in. So just straight vinegar. Again, it's 2.5 on the pH scale. It's very strong. And so it does a great job. If you have that one load of laundry, like if you do laundry and you forget to take it out of the washing machine and it sits there for 2 days, you're going to have that smell. And so to get rid of that smell, then I would do another cycle and I would add the vinegar to the fabric softener dispenser, and I would do it straight vinegar. So that would be my solution. All right, Diane says, my shower walls have a brown tint from minerals in the water. Help. That sounds like well water, and it sounds like rust. And so the brown tint is probably from rust. And so there are a lot of really great rust products on the market. I think there's a rust in one or something like that you can buy, and they're often sold inside the stores where rust water is present. So if you live in an area where there's a lot of well water, for example, they sell that usually in the stores. You can also buy it in the online retailers. I know that Home Depot sells it online, Amazon sells it online, Walmart sells it online. You can usually buy it from the online retailers. And as a house cleaner, it would probably be advantageous to have memberships for all of those online sites, because I know that we randomly buy stuff. If somebody's out of stock, we'll bounce over and we'll buy it from a different distributor that has a delivery process, where either you pull in and they just bring it out to your car, or they'll deliver it at your house at no additional cost. The rust remover products are very strong on the pH scale. And so unlikely will they be able to ship them through the mail via airline. And so it's probably going to be like a 2 or 3 day shipping if they don't have it in stock at a local distributor. A lot of the big, like Amazon, for example, probably has a distribution house near where you live, and they probably can still deliver it same day. But a lot of the companies will deliver it like the next day or 2 days later, when they can truck it in and still meet the shipping codes. Like shipping and handling is very specific to some cleaning chemicals, and something with a brown tint, which sounds like it's from rust or well water, that's going to be in that category if it's got to be trucked in, not flown in. So there's that. All right, Amber says, are steam mops safe for wood and laminate flooring? If not, what is the best cleaning method for these flooring types? A steam mop is not safe for anything except ceramic tile. And that's going to be just across the board. I wouldn't train any of your house cleaners to use it on wood or laminate or any of those things. Can you? Yes, you can, but there's a risk, and here are the risks. A lot of the flooring that is done on wood is going to be like the tongue and groove, where they put the pieces together and snap them in for both the laminate planks and the wood planks. They're just going to, it's like a floating floor. And so what happens when you use a steamer on that, it weakens the grooves, and you can either get moisture down in there, and or it can buckle and create like a little warping on like the laminate floor planks. So I don't recommend it. It can be used, and the times when we do use it is when there's like ground in food or something and it will not come off, and you're going to use it as a spot cleaner to get something off. And sometimes dog slobber, the protein in dog slobber, for example, will get ground into your floor and you cannot get it off. So there are times I've used it spot specific in a particular area to remove that. And so it will remove, the steam will remove the dog slobber or whatever that is that's isolated in one area. You remove it and then you go back to just a damp mop. I love to use the steamer though, like depending on the model of the steamer. I love the steamer. And if you are not familiar with the steamers that I'm talking about, I do have an Amazon store. If you go to amazon.com/shop/Angela Brown, I may be able to make a link here. Then you can see the store, and I have an aisle in my store called Cleaning Equipment I Use. And I will leave a link to that here in this comments. And then you can, there you go. You can see the mops that I use. But I like one that's more like a vacuum. It's got a handle on it instead of having the bulk of it up at the top where it's super heavy at the top. I like using it just like a little vacuum, like a small, what do you call it? Like a cordless vacuum where it's really small and it's easy to maneuver. There are steamers that are really easy to use. And for a damp mop, we just damp mop the head of it so that it's not, squeeze it out really tight. We're not plugging it in. We're not using the steam. And you're just mopping the floor with that because it's just kind of like a mop on a little handle without it being a great big mop that then you're maneuvering around. So for like an Airbnb that's small, you got a small area for apartments, for seniors, if you have kids that are helping you, probably not for like if you're doing a whole house and you're mopping a whole house, you probably need a regular mop. But if you have a small area that's going to be, 200, 300 square feet, a little steam mop that's not plugged in makes one of the best mops ever. And you just wash the washable mop heads. So I totally recommend that. And there are a bunch of different brands, but Shark has a really, really, really good brand that's really popular. And that's one of the ones that we use. We were using Light and Easy for a long time. I know they still have some products on the market. And I still have a couple of Light and Easy mops that I still use. The ones that I use have been discontinued. They've come out with better models that have more attachments and all kinds of things. But Light and Easy is a good brand. Eureka is a good brand. Bissell is a good brand. There are a lot of good brands on the market. So the key is on hardwood and laminate, damp microfiber cloth or mop head, and on ceramic tile, go all out and use all the steam you want because it's not going to hurt your ceramic tile flooring. All right, Jennifer says, hi, Angela. In the training course, you featured Autoband's products for environmentally friendly cleaners, and it seems the line has been discontinued. Do you have another suggestion for business owners? Yes, I do. It depends on what you're using those cleaners for, because in that particular course, I believe there are 5 cleaners that we use on a regular basis. Some of them are still available, and for one of them, we've switched for a disinfectant. We've switched over to their not earth-friendly disinfectant. This is the one that they created during the pandemic. They went on hold and put all of their products on hold, and they literally started around the clock manufacturing their disinfectant products. And so the disinfectant is going to be stronger, and it's not rated as far as the safer choice goes, but it is one of the better products. So we still do use that. As far as the earth-friendly products that we use for our main product, we're going to use Crud Cutter. That is a safer choice product. And so it can be diluted. 1 gallon can dilute into 144 16-ounce bottles. And so using their dilution ratio, you're going to bring it down to a pH neutral product that can be used as kind of a multi-purpose cleaner on just about anything. If you need it as a heavy duty degreaser, you can use the original degreaser. That's what it's called, is original degreaser. And you can use that in its concentrated form, and it cuts through just about anything. It's a fabulous product. The key is to read the safety data sheets. There are a ton of products that are out there, and many of them are safer choice. Many of them are earth choice, which are going to be biodegradable products. They're going to be neutral on the pH scale once they're diluted according to the concentrate ratios. And they're going to be user-friendly where they either don't have a smell or a scent to them. They're going to be safer on kids and pets. The things that you're looking for are in section 2 of the safety data sheets. And for those of you that are just joining us that don't know about the safety data sheet, every cleaning chemical, according to the the manufacturer's specifications, you must list your 16 section safety data sheet and then specify, what are the safety hazards, what are the storing and handling protocols, who manufactures it, and what is their contact information in case you have any questions. And the reason being is if somebody gets sick because of the product and they were to go to the emergency room, they could identify really quickly what chemical was used, how it was used, what they're supposed to do next, and all of the health concerns and issues are there. It'll say get to fresh air, it'll say flush with water, whatever the rules and requirements are for that particular product. So what you're looking for is you're looking at the number 2, which is going to be the safety hazards, and there are little pictograms. And the pictograms are things like, a little man choking, or it will show like the organs of the heart that are like crossed out, like it's going to hurt your heart, or it's corrosive, it's going to hurt your throat or your skin, or it'll show like a picture of like little fish that are like trying to survive for life. This is toxic to the environment, don't hurt the fish. But it will show all the little pictograms, which then tell you, is this a harmless product or is this really toxic? And it's going to give you a quick visual on whether or not it's a safe product. So as you're choosing safety products, and Autoban has a fantastic commercial line that was all Earth Choice. It was all Earth Choice. And some of their products have been discontinued. But there are a whole bunch of new products that are on the market. You can get them anywhere depending on where you live. And I don't want to specify any particular brand because we've got people on this call right now that are from all over the world. We've got lots and lots of different people that are represented here. And not all products are available everywhere. So check the safety data sheets. Also, if you buy a ready-to-use product, that's something that you find in the aisle of the grocery store, and you just pull it off. If you'll flip the bottle around and you look at the label, they have to tell you what the safety hazards are. And a lot of times you'll see the little pictograms that will then specify, is this safe or is it not? And many cleaning companies, if they are Safer Choice, they got a great big label smack there right on the front, like we're Safer Choice. We're really proud of it. And the Safer Choice is this. The EPA has a list of environmentally friendly products. And one of the things that I love about the Safer Choice program, and this is through the EPA, but one of the things that I love is they don't just test that brand product. They test all of the different ingredients that combine together create that product. And so when they say this is a safer choice, what they're saying is this really is a safer choice. Okay, it's effective and it has to pass an effective test. So if it says safer choice, it's not just like, hey, we're doing this for kicks, but be wary of products that say like natural. Natural is not a regulated word. So if you have a natural product, that means nothing. If you have a product that says this is a green product, that's green is a color. Okay, it's not a regulated term for use in advertising. So if someone says this is a green product, that means absolutely nothing. So be very careful about what you choose and the labels that are on there, and learn the labels. And the reason I say that is because there are some savvy marketers that have created similar looking labels, like Safer Choice is one that I'm talking about, but someone will say like Safe Choice and they'll use a similar looking label. And so without really knowing the labels, if you just look at it and go, oh, this is a Safer Choice product, and you get it home only to discover that it's a knockoff and it's not the actual label, and it's not from the EPA and it hasn't been tested, and it's just a similar looking label with a similar sort of name, that you've been tricked. And so there's a lot of trickery in advertising, especially when it comes to cleaning products. So make sure that you are keenly aware to read the safety data sheets and know what products you're using. So if you're a homeowner or you're a professional cleaner, it is your job, if you're going to bring cleaning chemicals into your home, because we've all known for many years about the VOCs that are inside cleaning products and how they can harm our organs or they can interrupt our reproductive systems and things like that. So this is not news. I'm not making this up, but it's your responsibility if you're going to use something to know what it is you're using. It's like if you get behind the wheel of a car, you are responsible for whatever happens behind the wheel of the car. If you drive the car, however fast or wherever you go, or if you run into something or you run up over somebody's yard, that's on you. Okay. It is your responsibility to know what tools you're using. And so you got to know, read the safety data sheets and learn the information. All right. I hope that helps. It wasn't product specific, but I hope that helps. All right. So, that was a link that I gave you guys. That was not a question. I have another question here from Kathy. She says, do you use a steamer for window tracks? Now, I love this question. Yes, I do. A steamer for window tracks is wonderful for the fact that you can steam away a lot of the gunk that's built up in there. So my first suggestion is use a vacuum. And window tracks, when you open a window, there's a track there that's left behind. And oddly enough, professional window cleaners don't often clean that window track. And oddly enough, most maids and house cleaners don't either. So make it be a special project that you offer your customers, excuse me, as an upsell. Because if you are not including it in a maintenance clean, it's not part of your weekly or quarterly tasks. A customer could be disappointed if they open their window and then lo and behold, there's a bunch of gunk. Whose job is that? And so you want to clarify that that is not part of a deep clean. It's not part of a maintenance clean. Excuse me. The only time you clean that is if the customer pays for you to go around and clean all the window tracks. And then to do that, you're going to use the crevice tool of your vacuum. You're going to vacuum everything out. Then you can do a steaming where you actually steam the thing and you loosen up all the gunk that's in there. I say get your little OXO deep cleaning brushes or an old toothbrush, brush it all out, and then take a screwdriver with a paper towel wrapped around the end of it. So you've got the long edge and it's pointy at the end, and you can pull all that stuff out and wipe it out as you go. So altogether, it's a really quick and efficient process, but you need a few tools in order to do that and execute it like a pro. All righty, more questions. Nancy says, great info, Angela, thank you. What would you use to clean an oven with a light pilot light? To clean an oven. All right, so I think we're talking about the pilot light that's at the top of the oven. And when you go to spray the inside of the oven, if you're using a spray, how do you do that? My suggestion and solution is do not spray the pilot light. Okay, you're talking about a little piece of glass that covers the pilot light. So if you spray, especially many times if you're using like, I'm going to say easy off, which is a known name for spray, many times you'll have to heat the oven up. So if you heat the oven up and then you spray on that glass, sometimes it will crack the glass, and or if there's no glass there, you'll crack the bulb. So you don't want to be responsible for that. Spray everything except the pilot light. A great way to avoid that is to wrap the pilot light in saran wrap or something like press and seal, where you just have a little saran wrap and then it presses and it seals on that light. Spray the rest of the oven. Go ahead and remove the plastic when you're done so that you can access the pilot light again. Oftentimes the pilot light glass will just unscrew. You turn it a half a screw, the little cup comes off, and then you can wash that just with soap and water inside the kitchen sink and then gently put it back on. So that would be my solution, but stay away from the oven cleaner on the pilot light because chances are you're going to break it or you're going to crack the glass. And I've seen that happen so many times. And so I love the question. Thank you for asking that. There are a couple little things that we learned over the years by trial and error. And I hate learning them by trial and error, but that's one of those that if you're not careful, it can happen, and it can happen like every time. And this goes back to also other light bulbs. If you're dusting light bulbs, dust them when they're cold. You go into the room, do a spot check, inspect your room before you begin so you know exactly where all the dust is. If you're going to start at the top and work your way down, turn the lights off so that you can dust the lights and get the light bulbs clean before they get hot. Because once you turn those on and you're using that light, you can't go back and dust the lights, because as soon as you do, if you're using like a Swiffer duster, the fibers from the duster head are going to stick to the light and they're going to sizzle and burn and stink, and or they'll pop the bulbs. And then as the house cleaner, you're expected to replace those. So you don't want that either. So there you go. All right. Diane says, home with Katrina, got barkeeper's friend, more ordered. Thank you. And I think that goes with this. Somebody says, Diane Myers, nice. If it's really thick, it could take multiple applications, and you may want the barkeeper's friend powder for around the drain where it can potentially build up. I missed a barkeeper's friend comment here. And I don't know what that was, but I'm a big fan of barkeeper's friend. And the secret to barkeeper's friend, because they have lots of different varieties. Barkeeper's friend is a company that is about 140 years old. They've been around for a very long time, and they created a powdered cleanser that was originally designed for stainless steel bars. And they actually have the saloon logo door still on their product today. And of all the products that they make, the powdered cleanser is still my favorite. I use it for a lot of things because it is a really low pH, which means it's also a very strong product. So like for example, in toilets and things like that, where you have like a rim around and it's not a really gunky rim, but it's kind of like a chemical what do you call, like a calcium buildup. And it just scrubbing it with a regular toilet brush won't remove that. You can make a paste and put it around the inside of the toilet rim, and you can let it set for a couple of minutes. And I say make a paste, just a little bit of water and the powdered cleanser, and then brush it around the toilet rim and let it sit. And if it sits there for a couple of minutes, it will help dissolve that. And also, Barkeeper's Friend is really great for hard water stains. You can help remove some of that calcium buildup where it's not etched into the glass. If it's etched into the glass, you can't remove etched into the glass, but you can remove a lot of stuff. It's also really great for pots and pans. So not to do a Barkeeper's Friend announcement, but I'm a huge fan of it. And it's in every one of our people's cleaning caddies for all the training that we've ever done. It's a product that I've used for 32, if not 33 years. So it's a product I swear and I stand by. So, and I prefer, of all the products they have, I prefer the powdered cleanser. So, all righty. Antonio says, hi, first time making an invoice. For the description part, do you put the address of the home or do you put down everything that was cleaned? Help, please. So for an invoice, my invoice, we've gotten really simple over the years. So my invoice is not necessarily the address of the home. It can have that on there, but for the invoice, literally right now we're using Venmo and PayPal. And so there's going to be a one sentence that says, 1410 Azteca Loop, cleaning, maintenance cleaning done by Angela Brown. That's going to be it for the date. And then what you left behind was you left the worksheet. So our invoice is our worksheet. And the reason I say that is because you're not customizing something for every single job. Now, if it's a specialty project, like let's say that it's a custom project you're doing for the customer, it's only a one-time thing, maybe you make an invoice for that. But what you're going to do when you do a walkthrough is you literally do a walkthrough with the customer, and I have 2 worksheets on every walkthrough. I have my worksheet, and I have an identical copy of it that I hand to the customer. And I say, on a walkthrough, what we do when we come to your house is I give you this worksheet. I'm going to go through mine. You're going to go through yours. We're both going to make notes. And so any questions you have, I want you to ask me while I'm here. But my job today is to uncover your priorities. And I'm going to make notes all over this. And at the end, we're going to compare our notes. We're going to make sure we're on the same page. And then we're going to create a program that's special for you. So today's the day that if you have any special priorities or if there's anything weird about your house that needs special attention, today's the day that we create your game plan for what your cleaning looks like for the next year. It's not a to-do list that changes every week. Okay. We're not going to invoice the client every week with a different price and different stuff, because that will make you crazy. It will make your customer crazy. And if you try to hire somebody, it's going to make them crazy. Because if you have a moving target, nobody really knows what's supposed to happen or what's going to get cleaned. There will always be missed expectations and disappointments. So what we're going to do on one walkthrough is we're going to go through and we're going to agree on what exactly is going to be cleaned every time. And we're going to agree on what is not cleaned at any of the cleanings so that there are no surprises. And then you're going to come up with a price. And then before you leave, you're going to grab your phone and you're going to say, okay, I've got my phone here with me. Let me come up with a price. But before I do, let's go ahead and put this on the schedule. And you're going to go to your Google Calendar and you're going to plug it in right now. And you're going to block off that time for the calendar, on the calendar for that customer. And if they're not sure, oh, I'm not sure, that's great. You've got all the way until Thursday to cancel. Okay. But I want to put it on the schedule right now so that I don't leave your house and go to someone else's house and give them your time slot. Okay. So I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to hold your spot until Thursday. You can cancel all the way up until Thursday with no harm, no foul. But once Thursday comes, if you haven't said yes or you haven't said no, we're going to assume it's yes. Right? We're going to put it on the schedule right now at this price. And you will probably always get kickback. But the kickback is going to be a one-time sticker shock, and it happens to everybody. Doesn't matter if the price is low or the price is high. There's always going to be a, oh my, that's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of money because they weren't paying it a minute ago, or maybe they were. But it's something new that they're buying. I can't tell you how many times we've all gone into the store and we've looked at something like, oh my goodness, really? We got to pay that much money? And then you decide if you're going to pay it or you're not. But if every single time a house cleaner came, and they came, I don't know, every other week, that's 26 times they're going to come during the year. 26 times if they come every other week, that's 26 invoices. Are you going to invoice them with a different price and a breakdown and all? That's going to be exhausting for you, your bookkeeper, and your customer. So figure out one time the service that you're going to provide. And is it scalable? Can you hire somebody to come in and do that one set of tasks? And you're going to cross out everything on the worksheet that you're not going to do. And you're going to add in, if there's something special, like make sure that these 3 cookbooks are wiped down at every cleaning. That's a weird request, and I just made that up. But if that's important to the customer, add the 3 cookbooks onto their worksheet. Every single time you come to the house, you're going to add a wipe down of those 3 cookbooks. That's part of the cleaning. Okay. So once you've decided what this is, then you're going to agree to a price, and that's going to be your invoice. And that worksheet has your contact information. So it has your information. It has your phone number. It has your website. It has your QR code. So they can scan it at any cleaning and leave you a rating and review, which is awesome. And then it has all the tasks that you provide. And then the last sheet is going to be all of your rules and regulations. And if you don't have a copy of that, you can go to savvycleaner.com/worksheets. And you can download a copy of the worksheet we've been using for 30 years. We've tweaked it, we've edited it, we've done all kinds of things over the years, and we've landed on one that works and works consistently, year in, year out, customer in, customer out. Okay, it works across the board, and it's for a maintenance cleaning, which is going to be your basic maid service. So I recommend that you use something like that if you haven't already. Here's the reason why. Instead of having an invoice that says, hey, you owe me money, the customer's first question is, what did you do? What am I paying for? So the worksheet says, here's exactly what we did while we're at your house today at the agreed upon price. And I checked off every single thing that I was able to get to today based on our parameters and our agreements. Here are the expectations. Here are the deliverables. And they're going to look at that and they're going to say, that's awesome. If you checked something, what you're saying is, I guarantee my service for today on the items that I checked. The items I did not check, we did not get to for whatever reason. And there might be valid reasons for that, but for whatever reason, you're not guaranteeing that because you did not do it today. And there might be something you did not do. And you might have called the customer in advance and say, whoa, I didn't do the bonus room at all today because when I got there, I was surprised by the volume of belongings that were in there. And so then you text the customer quickly and they say, oh, skip that room today. We're going to do something else, or go focus your attention on this other room. Okay, that's fine. But you've let the customer know. So you're not guaranteeing that room on your satisfaction guarantee because you did not check it off. But if it's checked off and you did it and you inspected your work, that you're guaranteeing on your satisfaction guarantee. And they can call you back anytime within 24 hours. And they can say, hey, there's something in my house that wasn't quite done and you checked off that you did it. Okay, then you got to run back and you got to make it right, or you got to give their money back. And that's how that works. So please don't be invoicing at every single cleaning. It's exhausting to you. It's exhausting to your bookkeeper, and it's exhausting to the customer. So make it very simple. The easier it is for the customer to say yes and get your money to you, the easier you'll get paid. And you're not a bill collector and you're not a bank. So you can't carry somebody from week to week to week and not get paid. And you shouldn't be spending all your free time going to collect money. That's not how the cleaning business works. You clean. You don't collect money, you clean. Collecting money is just part of the service, right? Okay. All right. Divine Entity says, what about non-toxic cleaning? What about it? Yes, I recommend it. I recommend non-toxic cleaning whenever you get a chance. And if you're guessing and you're not sure, like, hey, I'm cleaning something and I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to use on this surface. If you haven't been through chemical safety training, my suggestion is go with the closest neutral pH cleaner you can find and use that, because it's going to be the least chemical load on whatever it is you're cleaning. So ask yourself, do I really need a heavy duty cleaner on this, or can I wipe it down? If you can wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, yay. If you need some kind of a cleaner, is it pH neutral? Is it going to do the job? Is it a safer choice? Is it going to be, and there are a few different brands on the market, Safer Choice, Earth Choice. Those are brands that are known to be more user friendly. And I know that there are a lot of products like Method, for example, has a whole line of products that are easy on the different surfaces. So go pH neutral and use as little cleaning solution as possible. You don't need to like spray something with a whole bunch of spray that then is going to create a whole bunch of suds. You got to spend a whole bunch of time cleaning it up. Use the minimal amount of cleaning solution that you have to do to remove the organic load of whatever it is that's on the surfaces that you're cleaning. So the first question is, what is the soil I'm trying to remove? What is the surface that it's on that I'm trying to clean? And what can I safely use with minimal chemicals? And then do that. And very rarely will you go wrong. So just be very conscientious of whatever you put out into the air, you're breathing. And so are the people around you. The homeowners, like it just doesn't disappear into the air. That's air is still inside the home. We're still breathing that. So the pets, the people, you, everybody's breathing it. So please be conscientious, especially if you're a professional house cleaner. And I say this because as a professional house cleaner, we clean a lot all day, every day. And if you're going to be in the game for 10, 15, 20 years, you have to protect your lungs, because your lungs, your liver, all the organs of your body have to process everything that you are around all day, every day. And it's the reason why if we're doing a deep clean and we wear a face mask, if somebody gives you a hard time about a face mask, don't let it phase you, okay? Because to remove the dust and to filter that stuff out, that's on you. You're protecting yourself. That's why it's called personal protective equipment. They might have and I get this a lot. People are like, face mask, whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm protecting myself. And there's enough dust in this particular cleaning job that I care about my lungs more than I care about your comments, right? And so don't let somebody phase you if you have to wear personal protective equipment, but always, always, always choose the safest cleaning chemicals for you and your team, because you want to be in the game year after year after year, and you don't want it to harm your reproductive health. We did a show with Gabriella Rosa, and she's an endocrine specialist that deals with the hormones and reproductive health. And she gave us a whole bunch of insights that was really interesting on how people who are unable to have kids oftentimes have done things like cleaning chemicals that have harmed their reproductive systems without even realizing that they're part of the challenges that they're experiencing. So it was a real eye-opening show for us. Anyway, all right. Amber says, I heard Dr. Bronner's pure Castile soap can be used to make an all-purpose cleaner. Is this something you would recommend? And that is interesting. Yes, Amber, I'm so glad you brought that up. Dr. Bronner's soap has also been around for a very long time. And we had Lisa Bronner, who is his granddaughter, Dr. Bronner's granddaughter, come on our show. And she gave us a whole bunch of really enlightening information. But the Castile soap is also earth-friendly. It's biodegradable. It is used for a lot of different types of things. But the Castile soap, which is really weird because of its chemical compound, can be used as a teeth paste. It can be used to brush pets' teeth. It can be used to wash pets' hair, like as a shampoo. It can be used for adult shampoo. It's used for a lot of people who have thinning and hair loss, and they want a shampoo that doesn't have all of the different chemicals in it that make your hair really soft, but then make your hair break and fall out. So a lot of people that have thinning hair will use like a Castile soap for their shampoo. It comes in a whole variety of different scents that are scented with, what do you call them? Like essential oils and things like that. So it's really natural stuff. And it doesn't have the same texture as like a dish soap, for example. It's a different texture and it feels a little bit different when you wash your hands with it. But yes, I highly recommend it for cleaning. It's used for so many different things rather than just cleaning. But yes, it's used, like I said, for shampoos and teeth paste. And there's a whole variety of different uses for the Castile soap. So if you haven't gone down that path, that's an interesting path to go down. So check that out, because I've had several delightful conversations with Lisa Bronner. Let's see. Antonio says, first time seeing you. These are very helpful tips. Definitely going to follow you now. Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. I really appreciate that. Jennifer says, could you please talk about some services you offer in Senior Helper Package? Yes, the Senior Helper Package rivals the Mommy's Helper Package. And it's designed to be in, there are a whole bunch of active 55 communities that are popping up all over right now. I just purchased a home in 2 of them in 2 separate areas around the country. And what's really interesting is the people will go there in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they kind of age in place. And so the areas are designed with golf courses and pickleball courts, and it's fun athletic centers and things like that. But basically, it's a whole group of seniors that live in a special place. So if you are able to get into one of these communities, there are packages that we offer, and we offer them specifically to people that are going to jump up in the morning and maybe they're not able to bend over like we do when we're house cleaners. And so as house cleaners, we're expected to do a whole bunch of things like cleaning baseboards and cleaning behind the toilets and, rinsing out a shower that might be, as someone is aging in place, it becomes harder to do. And so they might have an athletic lifestyle where they're going to go out and go golfing for the day. We don't know the level of activity for them. And so what they might be doing is driving around on a golf cart, and they're physically not doing as much as they once were. So, but they all have friends and they'll talk and you'll get a ton of business. This is a package that will get you a ton of business. But what it is basically is you're going to go in once a day while they're out and about doing their social stuff. And you're going to go in and you're going to clean up the breakfast dishes and wash the coffee pot. You're going to empty the dishwasher. You're going to rotate the laundry. You're going to wipe down the countertops, wipe down the bathroom sinks, and then empty any trash that's there. If there are crumbs on the floor, if something's spilled, if there's pee behind the toilet, you're going to wipe that down, but it's not a regular cleaning job. And so you're not going to bring your cleaning caddy with you. You're going to use supplies that are inside the house. And it's basically a tidy up package. You're going to reset the house and make everything look nice and pretty so that when you come back again the following day, you're going to do the same thing. So if you take laundry out of the washing machine and you put it in the dryer, you're not folding it today. You're going to hit the dry button and then you're going to leave. So it's about a 45-minute to a 1-hour package, and it's billed at an hourly rate. And then what happens is they pay you for 5 days a week or 3 days a week or 7 days a week or whatever it is you agree on. And it's billed on a daily basis where you pay like for the whole month service at one time, but it's billed based on what your agreement is. And so when you come back the next day, you take the clothes that are in the dryer, you take those out, you fold those and put those away. You put a new load in the laundry if it needs to be. You take the dishes out of the dishwasher, you put those away. You take the dishes from the sink and put those in the dishwasher. Wipe off the countertops, put the food away, clean out the coffee pot. And again, you come back tomorrow. So it might include making beds, and it might include something else like, I don't know, maybe making sure that their meds are out for the day. I know there was one house cleaner who added in that she was going to prep some meal stuff and put it in the crock pot, and that was part of her package. And so you can make it be whatever you want. The flip side of that is a mommy's helper package that we offer to really busy families who sometimes they don't even buy the whole cleaning. All they buy and pay for is the mommy's helper package, so that you reset the house so that when the parents come home for the day, they're like, oh, hey, my house is nice and tidy and I can, come home to a clean house and get back to what we do as a family. But basically what you're doing is you're doing those daily chores for them for about 45 minutes to an hour a day. That's it. And again, it's as flexible as you want it to be. You can have a whole menu of services that you provide, and you can let them pick 5 of those items if you want for that price. And it might be rotation of laundry, rotation of dishes, breakfast cleanup, making beds, whatever it is. You can have a menu of items. But the seniors helper package is really helpful for this reason. And one of the reasons you'll get hired is not necessarily to do all the stuff that you're doing, but literally families will pay for it because it's eyes on their parents when they cannot be there. So if they know somebody's going to drop by every morning for an hour and kind of reset the house, they're comfortable knowing that I'm paying for that just to have somebody come in once a day and help out. And so it's a huge, huge package. But then once somebody has it, then they tell all their friends. So you gotta keep the chitty chat to a minimum. And I say with the seniors helper, because a lot of the seniors just want to talk your head off. And I love that. It's awesome. They make great friends. But what you have to do, and I had to do this at one of the homes that I live at right now in Florida, because of the chit chat. And I don't have time for individual chit chat every day with the different people that I'm working with. So what I had to do is say, hey, listen, I want to hear all the stories. I'm so excited. Great to meet you. I want to hear all the stories, but you have to come down to the fitness center. You got to come down to the pool in the morning and we all go pool walking. So every morning at 7 a.m., I show up at the pool and we go pool walking with all of the people that are there in this particular adult active community. And that way I can visit with everybody. They can visit with each other. There's some socialization. We all hung out together. And then when I have to get out and go to work, I get out and I go to work. And I left all of them there to still chitty chat with each other. It's eyes on those people. It's letting all of us know that we all care. It's letting us all know that you're important in my life. I want to hear all the details. I want to hear the stories. But during this little moment of time, we're exercising together, or you can go out and go walking. You can walk your dogs together. You can do whatever you want, but keep it separate from the job that you're doing. Because the job that you're doing, you got to get in and get out. Because then you got to go to the next house and get in and get out. So the seniors helper package is awesome. But the biggest challenge you'll have is you have to monitor and manage the chitty chat. Because if you don't, you can't scale it. You can't hire somebody to go in and do that job for you if they're still there 3 hours later hearing all the stories that the person told them the day before. So there's that. All righty. Let's see. Katrina, home with Katrina. She says, I love your product information videos. They've really helped me build my preferred cleaning supplies to take to house cleanings. Thank you so much for saying that. I've spent a lot of time making the videos that we've made, and with the intent of creating some normalcy between what a house cleaner does and what is expected from the homeowner. I'm in a unique position where I get to talk to a lot of homeowners every single day. And they tell me the weirdest things. And it's things that I want to pass on to you guys. And I want you guys to understand where the homeowners are coming from. Because a lot of homeowners do not like conflict. And they won't tell you some of the things that they've told me. One lady said, for example, I asked, why do you have the house cleaner that you have? Like, what made you choose them? What makes them stand out from everyone else that you chose them over all the other choices available? And she said, I kid you not, I have the cleaning company I have today because they don't steal from me. What? Are they great at house cleaning? And she said, no, they're average and they miss a lot of stuff, but they don't steal my stuff. Are you serious? That's the only reason you still have them? Like, a customer's not going to tell you that, but they told me. And then I'm like, people need to know this. This is important. Another woman said, I have my house cleaning company because they're on time. They say they're going to be there at a certain time and they're there on time. That's really important to a lot of people. Is that the only reason? And they're like, well, I mean, they clean, but they're not great cleaners. They just show up on time and I can schedule my day around it. Wow, those are really easy barometers to reach. We don't steal their stuff when we show up on time, right? So the key is we want to be really consistent. But once the message gets out, and the message will get out, people will talk about you, whether it's positive or negative. People will either hate you or they will love you. And they will tell all their friends. They'll tell their friends on social media and Nextdoor and all the different websites that they go to where people are talking about house cleaners. They'll tell their parents, other parents, like if they're at the school bus, they'll tell people at the HOA. If people have a service and someone says, hey, who's a good house cleaner? They will either recommend you, and we say they will either promote or expose you for who you are. What is your service and what do you offer? And is it crystal clear? And have you trained all of your customers how you operate? Because if you haven't, and they're out saying stuff about you, are you controlling the conversation? We did a training a couple of weeks ago, and it was about controlling that conversation by the message that you put out into the market. And we talked all about digital marketing. And is your message consistent with the message you want people to take and share with their friends? When people are promoting you, are they promoting or exposing you? And it's a really, really important concept to understand, because if you think people are promoting you and they're really exposing you and they're telling all your dirty secrets and they are taking customers away, you can lose more business just like that than you could working all these hours and trying to have all this fancy advertising and doing all these amazing things. But you get to control the message. And so it's one of the reasons we have QR codes on our checklists. Where does that QR code take my customer? And if you have a business card that has a QR code on it, where does that QR code lead? Does it lead to your About Me page? Does it lead to the product list of all the different services that you offer? Does it lead to your ratings and reviews? Like, where are you directing people, and what is the conversation you hope to have? Because once it gets out of your reach and we go from owned media into earned media, what does your earned media say? What are people saying about you behind your backs? And is it helping your business or is it hurting you? It's a really, really great question. If you haven't thought about it, please answer the question before the end of the day. Are people saying nice stuff about you, or is it bad stuff, and is it hurting your business? Because you do have control over the message that you're sharing. All right. With that in mind, we got a couple of other questions here. I want to make sure that I answer. Okay, we have a couple that have come in. This is a good one. Someone says, how do you guarantee you'll get paid for a move-in, move-out cleaning? That's a great question. The answer is you have to be very clear in the beginning. Number one, who is paying you? Who is paying me? And what is the preferred method of payment? And if that's not clear right up front, you may not get paid. The reason I say that is I specialize in move-in, move-out cleaning. I actually wrote a book on the ultimate guide to move-in, move-out cleaning for homeowners. And it's a checklist of all the different things you do in the house. When you get through the checklist, you're going to go, whoa, there's a whole lot of stuff here. And you'll probably hire a professional cleaner to do the job for you. All right, now that you're there and you got the job, how do you get paid? So the question is, the family for whom I'm about to go work is moving out. I'm assuming they're moving out, not moving in. They're moving out. So who's going to pay me? Is it the seller of the home? Is it the buyer of the home? Is it the real estate agent of the seller? Is it the real estate agent of the buyer? There are 4 possible people that might pay that move out clean. Or oddly enough, is it number 5 and it's a property manager that's managing the property because it's either an apartment or a B&B. Who's paying me? And that's a great question. So when someone says, hey, can you come do a move out clean? Your first question should be, who is the person that authorizes and pays for this job? Because if you're talking to the buyer and it's going to be the seller that's paying, you need to have the conversation with the seller so that you don't overpromise things to the buyer that has no interest and they're not intending to pay you at all. This happens a lot. So once you're really crystal clear about who's paying you, then the next question is, what is the scope of the job? And the scope of the job is determined by how much they're willing to pay you and what they want done. So if they say, I want everything done, let's break that down. Are you talking about carpet cleaning and you're talking about window washing? And are you going to take care of that? Or is that something you want me to take care of? Because I know that my company doesn't do carpet cleaning or window washing. So if they say, I want you to take care of it, what that means is I got to go find a window cleaner and a carpet cleaner, and I have to outsource that. And I have to pay them as a contractor. So I have to collect the money from the client in order to pay for that so that we can deliver a cohesive package that the carpets and the windows and the house are all completely clean at a price that is fair to all of us. And so how are you going to get paid for that? Typically and standardly, you would request some money up front. That's going to be 30 to 50% upfront deposit that's going to allow you to hire these other people to guarantee that the job is going to get done. You might get the rest of it on completion of the job, or you might get all of it up front, and then you might have a guarantee that says if you're dissatisfied for any reason, we will refund some of that money. And you have to make sure that your guarantees are in place if you are then outsourcing or subcontracting that job to a carpet cleaner or a window cleaner, right? So what is the scope of the job? So don't just go randomly pricing a move out clean saying, oh, I think it means this, because a move out clean means something different to every single person. Then also the parameters of the job. What are you requesting? If you're the cleaning company, you got to request that there's electricity and there's got to be water, running water. You can't come in and start washing stuff down if you have no running water. Have the people already moved out? Have they cut off their service? Or is this in between where there's still service for all of the stuff that you need? You can't hire a carpet cleaner to come in if he's going to be running electrical equipment and no way to plug it in. And you can't run a vacuum if you have a plug-in vacuum and there's no way to do that, right? So you have to make sure that all of your requests are clear and upfront before you accept the job. And then how do you get paid? How do you get paid? How do you get paid for any job? That's my question. Do you accept PayPal and Venmo and Cash App and Zelle and Square and all the different apps? And if you don't, I recommend that you do. Because a lot of times people say, I just ran out of checks. I mean, like I don't use checks very often and I just ran out of checks. You're going to have to wait for your money. Or they'll say, oh, let me get you cash for that. Oh, shoot, I'm short of cash. I owe you $60. So I'll catch you next time I see you. And then the next time you see them, and on a move out clean, you never see them again because they've moved, right? But if it's a regular customer, the next time you're like, hey, you owe me $60 from last time. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure I paid you. And now you're $60 short. So I don't recommend cash and I don't recommend checks, but everybody can connect to their bank accounts or their debit card, all of these other apps that let them pay you right now. And the money comes to your phone. You get a little alert message that said, hey, you got paid. And you look at it and you're like, I got paid. Thank you. You give them a thumbs up and you're off to the races. That's the end of your bill collecting, right? But it's a very easy way to collect money, especially if you're doing a move in, move out clean. So with the move in, move out clean, you can request upfront X amount of dollars to hold until the job is done. Now, we learned this from the rental car companies. You go to rent a car and they say, what? You're going to rent a car that will be $150 for 3 days, but we're going to put a $700 hold on your credit card until you return the car in this condition. And then you go, well, yes, okay, because I want the rental car. I need it to get from point A to point B. So they put a $700 hold on your credit card, which allows them to then keep the $700 if you don't return the car at the specified time, or if you do some damage or whatever it is, right? So there are ways to do that. And so if you need to, ask for an upfront deposit, ask for a hold that guarantees your payment, especially if you're subcontracting part of it to a carpet cleaner or a window cleaning company to help complete that job. You got to pay those people whether or not you get paid. So you got to make sure that all the bases are covered, right? So that was a good question. I hope that answered that question. All right, another question. Does discounting your cleaning service help or hurt your cleaning company if you're trying to get new clients? I love this question. I'm not a fan of discounts. And I'm not a fan of discounts for so many reasons. But when you offer a discount for cleaning service, what you're doing is saying the price that I initially gave you is not the real price. I can actually give you a lesser price. That's at a root level what you're saying. So the customer then at their root level said, oh, that's not the real price. You can offer me a discount. What do I have to do to get the discount on my next cleaning? And what you're doing from day one when you offer discounts is you're training your customer to say, give me a better price. And so from now through the rest of forever, they're going to nickel and dime you on price. They're going to complain and they're going to argue and they're going to hope for a better price because in the very beginning, you trained them by saying this is not the real price. Here's an example. Costco. I love Costco. And I shop and I buy a lot of stuff at Costco. But Costco has rotating sales. And so the items that I buy in bulk are frequently on sale. And I can save $4 or I can save $6 or $2 or whatever it is. But then at the back of my mind, I say, why would I buy this today if I need it, if I can wait for a month and it's going to come back on sale and I can save $4 and next month buy 2 of them instead of 1. Instead of buying today and having money come into Costco on a regular basis, they've trained me that a sale is to be had. And I'm a savvy shopper. We all are, right? We all want to save money. And because of that, I do not buy the items I need today, but I wait until they go on sale because there's a sale to be had. But if you don't offer sales and you don't offer discounts, the price we offer today is the real price. That's my fair price. And I stand by that price. And there are no discounts. That's the price. And they say, well, that's just too much money. Okay, let's unbuckle some of the stuff that we've put together as a package. Can I remove the kitchen from your cleaning? And then we have something that meets your budget. And most people won't want to remove the cleaning from the package. So they'll figure out a way to make it work because they don't want to remove the kitchen. Another room that we offer to remove is perhaps the primary owner's bathroom. Because when you offer to remove that as well, that's a big chunk of change that you're talking about. And it's a big chunk of time that you're going to be spending in there because they use that room every single day. And it's not used by one person, but usually 2. Okay. In the morning, in the evening, sometimes during the day, and often all during the day if that person works from home. Or if it's an at-home person that just lives at home and they don't have an outside job. Okay, now you're talking about a room that gets a lot of use. So I would say remove the kitchen or the primary owner's bathroom if you're going to pull something out to keep your price integrity. And price integrity means this is my price. And my price doesn't change just because it was inconvenient for you. This is my price based on the amount of time it takes to clean your house. And it will always, shh, don't tell anybody, but it will always come down to how long does it take to clean the house? Because regardless of bidding by the job or bidding by the hour, a job that you're doing takes a certain amount of time. I got to get in my car. I got to drive across town. I got to go to that house. There's drive time that's involved. The actual cleaning, getting my stuff out of the car and bringing it in the house, there's time involved. Packing that cleaning caddy so that I have all the things that I need to clean this job requires a certain amount of time. Whether it's a little job or a big job, I still had to bring the same stuff. I'm still cleaning the same stuff, whether it's super dirty or not as dirty. Okay. So there's a certain amount of time that's allocated for every job. It's just like when you go to get your teeth cleaned at the dentist, there's a certain amount of time that they've allocated for your appointment. It might take a little longer, it might take a little less, but they still have to have all the people in place. They have to use the same equipment. It's the same cleaning and sanitizing equipment that they're going to use, whether they cleaned your teeth fast or they took a long time or whatever. There's a certain amount of stuff that has to happen for every job. And it's also true with the cleaning business. And so based on the time that's allocated for that job is going to determine the price. And so whether it's really shocking to the person and they can't afford it or whether they can afford it is really kind of irrelevant when it comes to your price. And just saying randomly, well, I'll give you $50 off because that would be more convenient to you. That doesn't have anything to do with anything except now you've trained your customer to ask for discounts at every single clean. So I'm not a fan of discounts at all. I don't recommend it. When it comes to, does it help or hurt your company? I think it hurts your company in so many ways to offer discounts. Because as someone is recommending your service, well, you know what? They don't offer discounts, but they gave them to me. I'm the exception. What they'll do is they'll tell their friends, and then their friend will say, look, I know you gave my friend a discount. Can I get in on the same deal? If you train your customers that there's a discount, they will tell their friends. And so don't offer the discounts. Don't make it part of your business. The flip side of that is if it's really, really expensive and they want your service and they chose you and you're the best and they love you, but they can't afford your service, you might have a referral program where for every customer that they bring you, it reduces the price by X amount of dollars. And I don't even like to do it that way because, again, you're training them that there's a discount based on something else. I like to give them a loyalty program where if you buy 10 cleanings, you get one for free. Or if you refer 10 friends, you get X amount of dollars. Or use a plugin. Like there's a plugin called, we use WP, I think it's called Affiliate WP. And what that is a plugin that hooks up to your website. And when somebody signs up for your service, they type in the name of the person that recommended you. And if it's a customer of yours or if it's a person that is known to your business as an affiliate, what happens is it automatically clocks that in. And when that person spends money with your company, it automatically sends a percentage, either a percentage of the whole job, or it could be like a set fee, like $25 or $50 or whatever you determine. And then it comes out of the payment that was just added to your account. So when the money hits the account, it splits it up and it sends them their commission immediately, or you can have it set up to send 30 days, or after the job is complete, like the customer signed off on it, there are no callbacks, then it sends the money automatically. And so the plugin does the work for you. I think it's called Affiliate WP. But the beauty of it is there's a little dashboard. And the cool part is if there's somebody that's like a customer of yours and they are between jobs, they can do nothing but recommend your service. They become like a quasi salesperson for your business, saying whatever it is they want to say based on the media you've already put out there and how you've trained that customer on how you show up, how you look, your cleaning supplies, how you clean, everything about your business, your code of ethics, and everything they know about you is what they're going to tell their friends in their own words. And then every time somebody uses that service based on that referral, then cha-ching, they make an automatic commission. And that's really glorious when you get people that start earning money on a monthly basis, just an extra $300, $400, $500 a month recommending your service. Because now instead of you going out and spending a whole bunch of money on advertising, you have word of mouth, someone that says, I use Angela's service. I use her service. She's my house cleaner. And I recommend her for these reasons. But make sure that when you ask for the service, you ask for, and I always say, tell them Angela Brown sent you, and they will treat you with the same VIP care that they treat me. So people run in there like, Angela Brown sent me. Okay, now the person knows exactly where the referral came from. And so if for any reason they didn't clock it into the computer, an admin or a cleaner can type that information in, right? But I always tell them Angela Brown sent you and they'll treat you with the same VIP care they show me. And that's what I always tell people when I'm referring another service. So have people do that and they can make a referral fee. That's going to reduce their overall price for the cleaning. But I prefer, not completely necessary, but I prefer that the people that are recommending the service are people that have actually used our service. There's a lot of stuff that I recommend that I haven't personally used. And it will be something like, who is a window cleaner in Texas? So through all the networks and people that I'm connected to, I know window cleaners in Texas, but they haven't personally cleaned my house because I don't live in Texas. But I can say, hey, there's a cleaner in our network that works really closely with this cleaner here. I heard they're fantastic. I know the person personally through a Facebook group that we belong to. I've never used their service personally, but I recommend it based on how they treat other people in our group and what I know of them. You may want to give them a call, tell them Angela Brown sent you, and then let me know. Let me know if they're any good, because if you use them and they are not good, I don't want to recommend them again. I don't want to let you know about them. And so let people know right up front, I have used their service. I haven't used their service. Here's how I know them. Like if I know them from a Facebook group, I've recommended a lot of house cleaners over the years that are in our Facebook groups because I interact with them on a regular basis. Maybe some of them were clients of mine. Maybe I did the training for their company, but maybe they haven't personally come and cleaned my house. So the recommendation is not that they're excellent cleaners because they clean my house, but that I trained them and I know this house cleaner and I know the intent of their heart. I know that they're good for it. Like if they screw up, they're going to come back and they're going to fix it, make it right. I know that they're very compassionate to people, which is really super important because we live in a really diverse world. And so if you have house cleaners that are very caring, they're very compassionate, they're open-minded people and they're helpful and they don't gossip and say, talk smack behind people's backs and they're not mean and unkind, I'm going to recommend somebody like that over somebody that I'm not sure of. And over the years, I have had very few, it's happened a couple of times where customers have called me back. They're like, do not recommend that house cleaner again. Do not do that. It's going to hurt your reputation. And I'm like, tell me more. Tell me what happened. And then get back in touch with the house cleaner. And hey, I got some feedback from a house that you cleaned and it wasn't favorable. And I wanted to share it with you because I recommended you. I went to bat for you here. Now my feelings are hurt because the customer's really offended by what happened. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up and let you know, right? So you can offer discounts, but be very, very, very careful about how you do it and do it consistently across the board so that you don't offer some people discounts and other people no discounts. If you don't offer discounts, don't do it to anybody. And make it consistent so that you don't have employees that come in and say, well, I know that on occasion we do give some people some discount, so I'll give you a discount. The people that you hire will do exactly what you do. And so you want to make sure that it's consistent across the board. We do not offer discounts. And then you hire new people and they're like, we do not offer discounts, but we do have a referral program that can help save you a little bit of money. So that's how I would process that. Got a couple more questions here. Someone says, and it's Beverly Glass. Hi, Beverly. I had a cleaning where I ran an extension cord outside, another one I plugged up in the hallway. Whoa. I don't know what the rest of that is, but that sounds really fascinating. I don't know why you ran the extension cord, but good on you for having one. And someone says, remember to click a thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up. That's always good. Carla says, how do you get water spots off shower glass? That's a great question. And the shower glass is going to come down to what are the water spots caused of? So is this soap scum and shampoo that's come off of the person that just took a shower and it's just water? Or are these like mineral deposits that it's now etched into the glass? And so if we have like hard water stains that keep building up over and over again, we want to make sure that we have a product like BioClean. There's also one called hard water stain remover. It's literally called hard water stain remover. And I believe if you go to my Amazon shop, which is amazon.com/shop/Angela Brown, there is the BioStain hard water stain remover product. And it's a powdered cleanser, just like the Barkeeper's Friend. Barkeeper's Friend also does an excellent job. So the secret again is to think of finger painting. You're going to spray the walls with water or use a handheld shower head on a hose so that the water is on the glass. Take some Barkeeper's Friend or the powdered stain remover, pour it in your hand so it's just a powder. It's just like a fine powder. And I like the Barkeeper's Friend because it's like a flour. It's not like baking soda where it has a grit to it. It's really, really fine. Take it and put it on the windows. You've got your gloves on now, and you'll just do like a finger paint and smear it all over the glass where you have those stains. Leave it on for like 2 minutes so that it helps eat those calcium deposits away. And then go ahead and use a non-scratch scrub sponge. That's the blue one. And the blue one, I don't know if you know this or not, but here's a weird, interesting fact. The sponges, the different colors are different textures. So like the green and yellow one is super, super abrasive and can scratch glass. So you want to use the blue one that is non-scratch and get it wet and then go over it and just scrub it regularly, and that should scrub it off. If you need extra power, an orbital buffer is one of my favorite tools. They're like $30. Once you own one, you can use it for all your cleaning jobs, especially if you have homes or you're in an area with hard water. The orbital buffer has a pad that's like a soft sponge. It's also blue, and it just fits over like a little shower cap over the top of that head. And I prefer the 6-inch over the 9-inch. The orbital buffers come in different sizes. I prefer the 6-inch because it's easier for me to manage, and I can get inside corners and stuff easier. And I do like this because it has 2 handles. It has one on top and one on the side, so you can control where it goes. But you're basically going to hold it up against the wall, and as you move it, the orbital buffer is going to do all the sanding. You don't do a lot of scrubbing. You just hold it in one place and you move it. And as you move it, it does all of the buffing and sanding and removal of the hard water stains. So I think I actually made a YouTube video on the orbital buffer using that for the hard water stain remover. So that's what I would recommend. Let's see. I got so many questions here and we're running out of time. This is a good question. Someone says, should I have a minimum for my service? And if so, how much should I charge? This is a really great question for the fact that many house cleaners will say no job too small. And if you're serious about that, then you need to at least specify that you have a minimum charge. So no job too small, but we do have a minimum for me to get in my car, grab a cleaning caddy. It's fully stocked. I'm going to come all the way over to your location. I charge a minimum fee. The minimum fee should be at least 1 hour of time, because if you go over there and you clean something up and it only takes you 15 minutes, it's not going to be worth your time and blocking out on your calendar to go over there for 15 minutes. Unless, of course, you work in your own neighborhood and you have other little mini jobs that you do. There are a couple house cleaners that do that. They do mini or micro jobs. But having a minimum then guarantees that if you're going to go out there and you're going to spend a whole hour of your time, and it's usually about an hour because you go over there, they show you what's wrong, you might chitty chat for a minute, then you get to work, and by the time you get your supplies, get in the car and you commute, it's been an hour, okay? So a minimum of an hour of your time. Some people do a 2-hour minimum, and that's just their thing. So it doesn't matter what you decide as a cleaning company, but keep it consistent. Don't charge somebody 1 hour and somebody 2 hours and somebody nothing at all, because that will also get around the area that you work in. If you have a minimum, put it on your website. We've got a minimum 2-hour cleaning. There are no surprises. When someone asks for a quote, we have a minimum. And even if your house is really small or really clean, we still have a minimum of 2 hours, if 2 hours is your minimum. And that way, whatever the cleaning costs, it's going to fall within that minimum. So you say, you know what? And you might be thinking, this house will only cost me $75 to clean. But if your minimum is $120, that house now costs $120. And that is your minimum. And so when you get there, you hope to clean it in 2 hours or whatever this is providing your minimum or your hourly rate is $60. If it's a 2-hour job or a 2-hour minimum, that's what you're going to bid for that job. So some people do have a minimum, some people don't. Should you? I don't know. It's up to you. It's depending on how you work, but it's not going to hurt you if you do. That guarantees that you get paid for the work that you do. So if your company says no job too small, make sure that you do have a minimum in place and that's advertised everywhere your business is listed, so that people are not surprised of, well, the last cleaner only charged me $75. That might be true, but we have a 2-hour minimum. But let them know that up front so then they can make a fair choice. All right, I have time for one more question. One more question. When you raise prices, do you do it all at once or over a few months? It depends. I know that when we just raised this one guy and we raised him from $60, we raised him up to $60 per hour, which was up from where he was $15 per cleaning. We did it all at once. We did it across the board. And because he was so grossly undercharging. And so if you're grossly undercharging, I say do it all at once. You might lose a few people, but for most of the people, they're going to know that you are grossly undercharging, and this is more compatible to today's economic situation and labor charges. So you can do it all at once. Some people do it in a rolling phase. And so they might send out a notice that says, like, today is August 14th. They might say September 15th, all of our prices, all of our customers will be on this raised rate. So if you have a cleaning or two before then, you'll be at the old rate, and then our prices go up. But give your customers a week or two notice so that they can find another house cleaner if you're not going to be able to accommodate their budget. And then it also gives you time to fill up your schedule in the event that they're going to bounce, that you don't expect that income's going to come in the next week or two if they're not going to have you back. So give them at least enough notice that as you gradually roll that out, that there are no surprises for anybody. And the key here is communication. Because if you communicate with your customers and the expectations are clear, there's going to be a lot of happiness with your customers. And then also they can easily recommend you knowing what the new rules are. All right. I hope that helps. All right. So our time is up for today. This was really awesome. I'm so glad that we had a chance to visit with you guys. Somebody says hello from Uganda. I want to thank all of you guys. I just love the fact that you guys have joined us today from all over the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. And as I say goodbye, I want to say I appreciate all of the support that you guys have given me on the YouTube channel, on Instagram, on TikTok, on all the different social media sites that we've been on, and for helping me and my team improve and up-level the world of cleaning. Because without all of us doing our little part, there's no standard in the industry. And so all of us coming together, trying to elevate the cleaning industry just a little bit and leaving the world a cleaner place is our mission. And so I want to thank all of you guys for joining me here today and for helping me complete my mission, which is to leave the world a cleaner place. So I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys. I'm super glad that we've had a chance to work together. And I will see you guys in our Facebook groups. I'll see you guys online. And until we meet again with me, leave the world a cleaner place. Thanks again. You guys have a great day. Take care.